Hello, hello. Okay, let's get started. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah, okay. Let's go through all the content. So we have three things to have a look about today. The first one is what is DNS before we do the lab 3. And we will also have a try of the dig command. And the last one should be the programming stuff. So we are required to write a simple version of web server, and we will have a try of it. We will do it together, and I will show you a demo code for that. Okay, let's get started. So what is DNS? This one is a bit confusing. Let me try to make a simple version. For example, this one. So for example, this is your PC. Do you know what happened when you type a website in your browser? Like, for example, this is your PC, and you are using the Chrome. And when you type google.com, what happened? You know, what's the first stage that we visit a website? And this one is the google.com server. So if we type google.com in our Chrome browser, the first stage is to figure out what is the IP address of the URL. So the first question we have is in here. Because our computer does not know what is the IP address, so we cannot send a packet to the destination, right? So the first question is, what is the IP? That's the first question we have in here. Oh, sorry. So that's the first step, which means we need to go to another place. Let's say your DNS server in here, your local DNS. So in here, it may have a table inside, and it will have some information about like Facebook, and it will have a table like this. And this one is Google. And something like this. And every time you come to here and ask what is the IP address of this domain, then it will give you this kind of information. It will give you an IP address, so you can visit this IP address directly. But of course, in here, just for example, the IP address is incorrect. So later on, we can use the dig command to do the query by ourselves. So you can see what is the IP address for this kind of website. And after we get the IP address of the google.com, then we can start to send the packet to there. So from here to here. Yeah, so it's a get request, get command, and get main page of Google. That's what happened. And this is the second step. And the third step is to receive a response, right? So that's the whole thing happen behind your Chrome browser. And today we are going to figure out like what happened in this part. Okay? So we will figure out what's the thing between our computer and the DNS server, and what happens if if the local DNS does not have the records for google.com, right? So what happens if we don't have the records inside in our local DNS? We will go to another one to do the query, and we will have a look of it later. But now you got the idea. How does it look like if we want to visit a website? So we will just simply go to a DNS to figure out what is the IP address, and then we can use the IP address to send a request and get a response. So this picture is the same idea. So you can have a look of it later. And let's have a look of the dig command right now, because we are using it in our lab. So to use the dig command, you need to open a terminal in your VLab. And by the way, you should be able to check your lab1 outcomes by today. So you can check it tonight or tomorrow. If you didn't get it, please send me an email or let me know so I can see what's happening. And yep, so here to use the dig command is pretty easy. You can type dig and it will show all the information for this query. This is about the root servers, right? If you didn't type any kind of parameters, it will show you some like root DNS server information. How about with a website like this, dig google.com? Then you should be able to see an outcome like this. So here are the command, and this part is kind of header of the dig command. It will indicate what is our query. For example, in here, the query part. What is the query? We are query about google.com. And what is the flags and headers in here? So you may pay more attention on flags here, because this part is quite important to understand like what is the response for the dig command. You can just simply search online to get the answer. For example, the flags, dig flags in here. You can see there are some questions on the website, and you should be easily find the answer in here. This one is very important because AA represent for authoritative answer, and we need to use it later. And for the other one, you can simply take a note. I will have a screenshot here, so you may be able to find it useful later. And QR stands for query, what kind of stuff. In here is not complete, but you can check it in the website. And the RA represent for recursive available, right? And in this part, you can see the answer section, which means the IP address of the google.com is this one. It's this IP address. And what's the thing inside? Like, for example, what's the A in here? Any idea? And what is the NS here? And what is A in here? So the whole part for this part is basically some information from the server side, right? So the server side send us this kind of stuff. It's just like the table as I mentioned before. So the website is this one, and in A type, so the A represent a type of DNS record, and the record value is this one. Obviously, this one is an IPv4 address, and this one is the DNS type. So if you had a look of the exercise 1, then you can see we have lots of DNS type. If you want to figure out like what's the meaning of that, just simply click the link here. I just want to mention some important records. The first one is type A, represent IPv4 address, so it's IP address, and Quadra 4 is IPv6 address. So it's still IP address, right? But a different version. And another important one is NS in here, name server record. This one. And yeah, I think that's it. You can check the records in here. You don't need to memorize it, but you should be able to find it when you need it. And for example, this one, the C name, canonical name record. So basically represent the real name of the website. And we will have a look in exercise 2. So now you can understand what can we get from the D command. So when we type the D command, it will show what is the flags of the response. And it will also show what is the result in this part. In the answer section, we can see what is the result for that, right? And for other information, for example, this part, authority section, and additional section, we can also figure out what is the NS, right? It's basically what is the name server of the google.com. So if we have no idea like which server have the IP address or other DNS records for google.com, we can always come to here or this one. So they are equivalent. And you may also think if we need to go to this DNS server and do the query, so what is the IP address of it? And the answer is in additional section here. So you may think, you may ask, what is the IP address of ms4.google.com? And the answer is in here already. See, you can find the IPv4 and IPv6 address for this name server for google.com. And here are some metadata for the server. And in this part, you can see which server are we using right now. So you can see the whole section, the whole response, this one is replied by this server. You can see the server IP address, right? And the time as well. So now I think you can understand what can we get from the D command and how to read it. So we can do the exercise right now. Yeah, and we can still have another parameters with the D command like this, D google.com and A. This means we want to do the query D google.com, and if we type for example, NS, we want to do the query about the name server for google.com. We can use these parameters at the end. And if you ask, what is the name server for google.com, right? So here are the answer. This is the name server for google.com. And you may also have the question, what is the IP address of it? You can use the D command again and figure this out. And another one is to use the D command with an IP address in here. For example, we are trying to asking this IP address. If you can search online, you will be able to know this one is the Google DNS. We are asking the Google DNS, what is the IP address of google.com? So we can type it and see what's the outcome at 8.8.8.8. So we are asking this server, what is the IP address of google.com? Then you can see here in the answer section, the IP address is this one. So we can also see, have a check if we do not ask this server, we just ask our local DNS server and see if they have the same outcome or not. You can see this one and this one, they are the same. Like usually we have the same outcome, but sometimes we may have different one because maybe the local DNS server, they have like outdated records or have wrong records or something like that. But now you know how to use the D command. So let's have a look of the questions we have today. So this one, tracing DNS with Wireshark is not marked. You don't need to put it in your report, but let's just have a quick look of it. Yes, we need to put it on the WeLab. Just give me a sec. Maybe we need to download it. So for the exercise 2, simply download it and open it in the WeLab. If you still remember, the first thing we can do in here when we open the Wireshark is apply a filter because we only care about the DNS records, right? And you can see the information is in here. We send a query and we send a query, and you can see figure out more details in this part because you can also see it's using the UDP, right, to send the DNS query. And what's the answer? It's inside. So you can have a look at it by yourself. It should be pretty easy to answer the question in the exercise. And exercise 3, this one you need to put it into your report. And let's see, what should we check? Question 1, what is the IP address of this one? So this one should be pretty easy, right? So just maybe let me put some question in here and we try to figure this out. So in here, what is the IP address? the IP address in here is just simply use the D command ecs.berkeley.edu. So you don't need to attach the whole screenshot of this D command. Maybe if you still want to attach the screenshot, maybe just the answer section, or just simply copy the outcome of it. In here, in the answer section, you can see for this URL, the C name, which is canonical name, and just consider this one is the real name of this website, is this one. And for this website, for this URL, the real name of it is this one. And then for this URL, the IP address type A, right? The IP address of it is this one. So you can see it's like a pointer. This one is pointing to here, and this one is pointing to here, and it finally pointing to this IP address. So it will be equivalent if you visit them all. If, for example, if you visit this website, maybe you can get the same outcome as you visit this website, and you will be get the same outcome as you visit this IP address. So it's the same. And when we try to get the main page of berkeley.edu, it will be the same. We send a request to this IP address. So the question one is pretty easy. And let's see what do we have. What is the canonical name, right? So you can see this is the canonical name. And what is the, yeah, what can you get from these two sections? I think I have already explained it, right? So this part, you can see what is the name server for this address, this URL. Basically, it's berkeley.edu, but it's their real name, canonical name. Yep, and here are their name server. So if we want to get the official answer for the IP address of the berkeley.edu, we can ask them. So we can ask this server, what is the IP address of berkeley.edu? And they will give us the official answer. And here are their IP address in IPv6 and IPv4. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me have a check. And for example, the question 7, run the dig query for the CSE name server, for the mail server for yahoo.mail, Yahoo Mail. So we need to run the command like this. Run the dig command asking our own server 129.94.2.4.33 and the address yahoo.com, and we are asking about the mail service, right? Yahoo Mail, not the IP address. So it's MX. If you still remember, this one is the type of email. So that's the query, and see what's the outcome. That in the answer section, the answer is like this. And do you get an authoritative answer? So you need to have a check if this one is the authoritative answer. So in order to get an authoritative answer, we may need to have a check of this part, because we know for yahoo.com, their own name server is this one, and their IP address should be in here. So we can send a query, the same query, but with different IP address, because we want to ask what is the official answer right now. So it's 202.165.7.53. So we can send a query like this. And this time we are sending the query to the Yahoo server. So they must give us the official answer this time. So you can check what's the difference. The answer is like quite similar, right? The outcome is the same. And the outcome is the same. So what's the difference? The difference is in here, is in the flags. You can see in the flag, we have double A in here, which represents this is the authoritative answer. So you can trust it. But in the previous one, when we're asking the question with the CSE server, we don't have the flag. So that's the difference. Is that okay? Like if you have any question that want me to explain more, please let me know. Yeah, and yeah, if no question, we can go through. Let's have a look of the question 6. This one. What is the DNS name associated with the IP address? You may have trouble with this one. So let me just have a quick look with you on this. What is the IP address, right? Have a screenshot. In here, you may use the dig command to do it. Dig 111.68.101.654. In here, you can see in here, the outcome may not be correct. So in here, you may need to use the reverse query. Uh, we have an introduction in here. You can have a quick look of the what is the reverse DNS. So basically, is we want to figure out what is the host name of the IP address. So in here, you can see this is the example for the Google DNS. It used the parameter X to do it. So I will send the link to the chat so you can have a look of this website. So for the question 6, you need to run with the parameter X and 111.68, 101.54. So you can see what is the answer. It's totally different. So if you got this answer in your report, you will lose some marks because the real answer is this one. And what's next? Let me think. Maybe the last one, I guess. The last one is quite confusing in here. So I will show you how to do it for this one. So this one, we are required to do the recursive or iterative DNS query to find the IP address of the machine, this one. So the first step is in here. Let me make a mark. So the first step is in here. Find the name server of the dot domain. So which is the root domain. So the first step we need to do is to run the command dig dot. So you can see I am query about the root DNS. And query type NS. Don't forget it. NS. So here are the answer. dig.ns, and we can get the outcome in here. In this part. So here are the root domain we can find. We can just select a random one and we go to the next step. Query this name server to find the authoritative name server for AU domain. So we need to query this name server, which means we are running the dig command against this IP address. And we are figuring out what is the name server for AU domain. So how can we do it? Any idea? We can dig at IP address, right? And what is the query target? Maybe it's this one, right? AU. Then you can see the authoritative name server for AU domain is this one. Just select one of them and do the query in next step to do the query for this one again. So we run the dig command with this IP address from here, right? And we are query about the edu.au. And of course, the name server. So what's next? I think in here, I made a mistake. Can you see that? We go back to AU. It's not edu.au, right? So what can we do? We can just simply change this part to our destination, like lyre00.cse.usv.edu.au. I run this command and see what's the outcome of that. Yeah, and we change the IP address. Yes, so you can see I come to here. I keep doing this by replacing the IP address. I come to here. I find the authoritative section for unsw.edu.au is this one, the name server 1.unsw.edu. So we use the IP address again. We use it again. Change the IP address. And this time we can try what is the outcome. And we may be able to, we maybe need to change it, the IP address in here again, but I think it should be enough. We can try to use the A, which means we want to know the IP address of it and see if we can get the answer or not. So in here, I cannot get the answer, right? Because I think you still need to do one more step in here. So replace as NS and replace this IP address and do it again. Yeah, and it seems we reached the end of it. So we can see if we can get the answer or not. Yes, and here are the answer. So you still may be a little bit confused because it seems we have a lot of steps to reach it, right? So you need to read the question carefully and do them step by step. So basically, it's pretty simple and easy just by replacing the IP address in here. And of course, don't remember to change the type to NS at first. So when you reach the end, which is here, so when you get some outcome like this, which means you reach the end and you can change the NS type to a type A. and get the IP address. So here are the IP address. You may need to show some key steps in your report to prove you have done it. And in here, you can also see the flags is AA. And answer the question, how many DNS servers do you have to query? Because in here, I made some mistakes. So I don't even know what is the answer for that. You can do it by yourself. Okay, so next one is the programming stuff. Simple web server. So in here, we need to write a simple web server, which means just like the WebCMS website, like this website, when you visit it, you should be able to return some a string or other kind of stuff or a picture to us. How can you do that? Do you have any idea how to create a web server? Like, does anyone know like how to do the programming like with the socket library or other frame, if you know? Because I'm not pretty sure if we are using Python and if we can if you have the basic of that. If we don't have any basic, I will like just start from zero and make it very slow and easy to understand. Could you please let me know if you let me to do it quick or do it in detail? Yeah, do it in detail. Okay, no problem. Just give me a sec. I will prepare and launch this demo code for you, and I will explain how this works. I will write a simple version of the web server and show it to you, and then you can see what's the performance of it. So you can also open this part, open a spider in the VLab, and just give me a sec. I just need to see if I can write a demo code.
this kind of stuff.
Okay, I think I found some useful resource in the uh, web CMS, so I can show you. It's, if you have a look of the assignment stuff, then you should be able to see there are some uh, example code for TCP stuff. Going here, the multi-thread example code, this one is quite similar to our lab content, but this one is multi-threading stuff. So your assignment will be something like this. But yeah, don't worry if you feel a little bit dizzy with it. It looks pretty scary, right? But in here, we will just copy some part of it and see how it goes. And we will only care about the socket part. So just follow my steps. So from socket, import everything. And what's next? We running this one, server host and port and address. Yes, we can use this one. Just copy this part. And define the socket for the server side. So you can see everything is exactly the same. Basically, we just binding the IP address and the port number. So in here, I don't want to receive from arguments. Let me just set as a fixed value for easier usage. Yeah. And what's next? Next step is a class of an object. But in here, I just make it easier. Maybe not to have this class because it's pretty hard to understand for beginner in here. Client thread, we don't need to. Maybe just this part. While true, listen, our server socket is listen on the port for incoming message. If we do have a message, then we create a thread and start. We delete this part because we don't have threading stuff. Then we print. We have a new message from where? From the client address. And yeah, and let's see if we can run it and save it and run it. SYS is not defined. Let me just import it. Exits are here. Let me just delete this one. Doesn't really matter. Address already in use because I have some exception in here, right? So this port number is in use already. So change to another one. Otherwise, we need to like add some code at the end to close the socket properly. We may need to like dot close to run this function to close it properly. But if I have exception inside, like something here, and the program broken, I cannot reach this point, and I will still have this problem. So you may need to use the try and except command to come to here. But in here, I just save my time. I don't use it. Just leave it here. In the future, you may need to have a look of it. Okay, so in here, it's running right now. There is no outcome, right? Because we need to send something to the server. And let's try to visit the server right now and see if we can, because this one is in here, right? So let's just visit 127.0.0.1. You can see we are visiting this IP address and port number. Then you can see we have a new message from here. This is the IP address and this is the port number. Obviously, it's from the Chrome browser, right? So how about we print what is the message right now? How to get a message? Do you have any idea? It's not very hard. Can you do it by yourself? Just add something here. We need to print the message right now. How to print the message? In here. So it's pretty simple. Even you don't know, for example, you don't know how to do it, just search how to use the socket, right? Because we are using this library to do this thing. So in here you can see we are listening. If we have a new connection, which is in here, from here, then we come to here. We come to client socket and client address. The address is obviously to this part. But what is the client socket in here? So we need to do something with this one, client socket. Do something with it. In here, we get a new connection, right? Then how can we print the message? Let me try this one, 1024, like the previous one, like message. And if message, then print message dot decode. I hope it will work. I'm not pretty sure actually. So let me change to another port number and save it, run it, and sorry, and back to here, change the address A002. It worked. You can see we have a new message from here, right? And what's this? Any idea what is this? I think I have explained it in the lab 2. Can someone teach me what is this? What is this part? Obviously, this is the message from the Chrome browser, right? Because when we type enter, then our server will print this stuff because it received this message from the Chrome browser. Yes, exactly. This is HTTP headers. So this is the request, right? Obviously, it's a request. Requesting for the main page get method and requesting for the main page for the host, which is our IP address and port number. So we want to reply something. How can we do? Now we know this part show the message is in here. And how can we reply it? Reply the message, which is the HTTP request. This part is actually the HTTP request, and reply the message, make an response, right? Make a HTTP response. But I don't remember what is the format of the HTTP response. So how can we do? maybe we need to check the slides. I think it's in lecture slides. In here, we just search what is the HTTP response. I need to know what is the format for that. So this is the request. We need to find the response. This is the response. So we need to make something like this to show something on the website, right? So can you try to write it by yourself right now? I will show you the answer in 2 minutes. So in order to reply something, we can use the method client socket dot send and send a let's make a response equal to, let's say, hello. In here I just send a plain text, right? So response dot encode. Is it encode or decode? I think it's encode. So we use this method to send a reply. Let's see if it's working or not by rerun it, A003. A003. Yeah, it says it sent an invalid response, right? Because this one, the hello, is a plain text, but this one is a Chrome browser. We need to use the HTTP response instead of the plain text. So we need to change this part to HTTP format. We need to reply, including, we need to have a reply like this, including the header. So we need to replace this part as the response. So can you imagine how can we send the response? It's not very hard, right? Just simply copy this part to here. HTTP 1.1 200. Okay. And how can we send a message? Let's just run this and see how it goes. Yeah, it's working. You can see it's empty because we only reply the header of it, 200 OK, right? We didn't reply any content in the web page, but we can check if it's 200 OK in the network. I just refresh, and you can see the request header is like this, and the response header response is in here. It's empty because we didn't reply any data in here. Yeah. So how can we attach some information at the end? It's like this, right? So just attach some information in here, but I don't want to complete the whole program for you. I will only show you how to send the images here because I think images is a bit different than messages. You need to figure out how to send the messages at the end of it, right? So I will to do how to send a message. But in here, I will show you how to send file, images file. Let me find a file first. Maybe we need to have a pictures or something. Okay, use this one, profile. So in here, I want to response this one, python.png. How can we reply this file as our response? It's pretty simple. Just use the with open command. We are opening this file. We need to open this file at first. So with open, and what is the location? It's this one. With open, dot python, sorry, python.png. So we are opening this PNG file, and on read only as images file, and we need to open the file and send it to the I think it's socket, and use this client socket dot send, use the send all function as and send the images file, because if we open the file like this, it will be in a byte format, and we can send it directly. Is that okay? So I will put a response in here to make it easier to understand. Like this. Can client the socket dot send response dot code. We send this part as the header, and then we send the data to it, and delete this part. So we send the header and send the pictures, images, and let's see if this one is working or not. We need to open the browser. It's pretty slow. Did I made a mistake? let me have a look of this part. I think my path may be not correct. Oh, yeah, and here I only read only because I want to send in byte. So just remember this when we open the file attached with these two parameters. Maybe the error is in here because it says like a byte-like object is required. So I think I made a mistake by when I opened the images. Let me do it again. Oh, yeah, I made a mistake. Not pretty sure. It says a byte object is required. I think I made a mistake in this part. Let me try to figure this out. Send door. I made a mistake in here. So what should I do to solve it? I think open this one, no problem, and send all with the file. I think it should be fine, but I made a mistake in here. Let me try to do it again, I guess. Maybe change the name of the file. So just simply copy the path to the same one. So open the file browser. The object, the file is in here. So I save it in here, python.png. Python.png. I don't need to have the path. We've opened this one, RB as image file, and send all, and remove this part, put it on the top. Oh, I think maybe it's not the PNG. I may need to use another file, I guess. Let me use the other one for the lab3. Yeah, we can try to use the index. Let me see if we can use it. Index. Okay, index HTML. Yeah, should be okay. Yeah, Oh yeah, I think maybe here I need to read it, right? READ, because it's a reader and send an object instead of this one. Let me do it again. Oh, it sent the file, see? This is the file. And let's change this one to the pictures, images, python.png. So it should work right now, PNG. And we save it. We add some formats in here. And see how it works. So now it should be able to reply a message images. Yeah. So sorry, I made a mistake in here. So I keep sending the object instead of the byte. And this is how we send the file, send the PNG file, because I think we need to send the HTML file, right? So you need to change this part in your exercise. This library may be useful because you need to use a if command to judge if we have this file or not. And you need to analyze what is the get command in here. So what you need to do is you need to analyze which file do we need to send in this part in line 31. So in order to do this, you may need to use the split function or use the regular expression if you can to figure out this part. Basically the first line of the request. I will show you a simple example, but this one may be not correct in complex request. So you can use the message as this one. We need to decode it at first, and then we can split with the different row, and we only care about the first line, and we can split again with the space, because you can see we have a get and the space, and with the resource and the version of the HTTP, we only care about this one, which is the resource that we need to get. So it should be in this. So be careful when you using something like this, because if we don't have this index, your program will be crashed. So in here, I just want to save time to print it. So just to get it, you may need to use other thing to catch the error. So we can print the request want to visit the file, this one. Okay, and in here we may need to reply a different file, but in here I just make it simple. I always reply these images, and let's see if we can pass the request from the client side. You made a mistake here. What's the error of it? Uh, it's too long. It's very hard to debug. So maybe put it here. The requested resource equal to this one. Yeah. Actually, we don't need to put it. We can put it like this. Okay. And let's visit this one again. You can see the request want to visit the file F, this one and this one, right? And we can also change the request that we want to visit, like a main.html. You can see the request is successfully printed out. And then what's the next step is we want to judge if we do have this file or not, right? So we can add something after that, like if sys something, no, I'm not pretty sure, maybe os, if os dot file dot exist or is exist. Yeah, I'm not pretty sure. Maybe it's file or maybe path dot exist. This one. So resource. Then we can print and else, and we can print not exist and reply and 404 if needed, and not exist. Then we can send a response. Response equal to this one, like so what is the status code? You need to copy from our the lecture slides. in here, just type not found should be okay. Not found. Like this. Let's see how it goes. And yeah, but in here we will send another one, so you may need to break it. Maybe not break it, just continue. So here, just for a demo, so in your code, you may need to put them together with this one to make the if command. And here, I just want to show you how can we judge this file exists or not, and then we can send the corresponding response in here. And once run it, then you can see if we go to this HTML, it should not be exist. Oh, I made an error here. Has no attribute exist. So I made a mistake in the file exists part. maybe S existed. Helpful. Yes. So you can see the request want to visit the file main.html and the resource is not exist, right? And we can have a check if the response is 404 or not. You can check the status code is correct or not in here. I can see it's 404 not found, right? So this is 404 not found. When you try to reply a 404, make sure the status code is correct in here instead of printing out 404 not found at the main page. And another thing I want to mention here, maybe just have a try of the Python python.sng png. Yeah, you can see python.png, but the file is not exist. Maybe some error with it, but yeah, now you got the idea how to judge if the file is exist or not. I think it's because this part, right? Because this part, I need to delete this one. So maybe need to do something like this from 0, from 1 to this. So I will delete this dash in here. And let's just try again and see if it's work or not. Okay, so we can visit the file right now. And if we do have this file, it will open this one for me and send it via the browser. And if it doesn't have, for example, here, we don't have this file asd.png, it will return a 404. So this is the part of the program, but it's not complete. You need to send a HTML file, and I haven't done it yet, but now you got the idea how to receive and send the file right now. So basically just reply the header of it and then use the send command, send all command to send the file. And it will be the same to send the response in plain text. So you can try it by yourself right now. And I will also share the code, maybe a simple version of it. If you want, you can take a screenshot as well. And I will delete some unnecessary parts and share this code to you so you can start coding based on this one. Yeah, you can try to do it right now. So if you have any trouble, you can show it to me and I can help you to have a look. I will stop the sharing so you can share your screen.